Live. Hello, everyone. Sorry for keeping you guys waiting out there. I know it is a little late, but we had some technical difficulties, and you know how that can be. So we are back live here at Workvine 209. I'm Eric.
And I'm Linda. Thank you for joining us on our Workvine 209 live show today. We've been in our pivot, and during our pivot, we started these live shows. And today we have this great mentor. Even to us, he's a great mentor. And I'm going to have Eric introduce him just in a little bit. But I do want to mention our fall special, if Eric could pop that up real quick. We're trying to help other startups and students. And so we're running this special for the fall. Take advantage of it. Come out and see us. And we are practicing social distancing and hand sanitizing. So this is a real safe place to come into work and come and see us. Anyhow, Eric, can you introduce Bob for us?
So this guy is an executive coach for CEOs. He will help you in any different way, wealth of knowledge. He has a company that he's going to share with us. He's written a book that he can share with us. He's going to give us some insight on how you can benefit in your business and some of the tips that maybe can help you in your business during this time. So his name is Bob Kroon, and let's welcome Bob to our show. Hey, Bob.
Bob.
Thank you, Linda. Eric.
Thanks. How are you?
Good. How are you?
We're doing good. We're doing good over here. You know, other than a little technical hiccup, we are live.
Everybody has technical hiccups right now. Servers are overloaded.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit. I know you are an executive coach for CEOs. What do you do and how do you help CEOs?
I don't have a canned approach to this. I was a CEO, COO, general manager, group vice president, division president, whatever you want to call it, for 25 years. And I realized from my work that first of all, that I could never do it alone. And sometimes it's a very lonely position. There's not a lot of people to talk to. Sometimes you don't even want to discuss it with your spouse. And certainly there's issues that you can't discuss or don't want to discuss with your staff, but you do need help. And a lot of CEOs just only have X amount of bandwidth, and they can deal with a few issues every day, but usually they're the bigger issues. There's challenges. You might have a legal issue, a misbehaving employee, an unhappy customer, but all the garbage comes to your desk. You get the bad things. But then also on the other side of it, you're responsible for the growth of the business and hiring the right people. And you've got a lot of important decisions to make too. But different CEOs are, depending on where their business is, are seeing different problems through time, and the nature of the kind of advice they need changes, and so I typically, my clients, I spend usually a few hours a week or a month, typically more a month, with them, talking about, hey, what are they working on? What are they, what kept them up at 2:00 last night, and what were they thinking about? And sometimes they just need someone to talk to. Sometimes I can physically help them. Maybe there's a connection I know, or another service provider that would be useful, or somebody who had a similar experience, or maybe something from my own experience that I knew. So, what do I do for CEOs? Sometimes I'm their sounding board, or maybe they're one person board of directors. Not everybody can afford that. Uh, uh, my typical client is probably, I'm going to say, 30 to 45 years old. They have or likely already been successful in their business, but they know there's another place to go, another another place to get to. People, you would think that maybe people who are in trouble would ask for help, but that's counterintuitive, I guess, to me, because they don't they don't ask for help, which is probably why they got in trouble in the first place. So, so relying on some outside voices can be very useful if you're the top person.
Wow.
So, Bob, I have a question. We're in this pivot, like I was mentioning earlier, and why we're doing these live shows. What have you done in your pivot with your business during this pandemic?
Well, first of all, I've gotten pretty good with Zoom and other tools, how to use those. I also, this sort of fell out of the sky on me. I have an old friend that I did several projects with, I don't know, 30 years ago, who was an industrial designer, and I was an engineer at the time. And sometime in early June, not long after the pandemic really started, he called me up and he said, I have this systems furniture product line that I think would be good for post-COVID workplaces. Would you take a look at it and just give me your opinion? And so I did, and went back to him and said, hey, this is pretty good. You want me to help you? And he said, yeah, that would be great. and so I've slowly been sucked into this
new
project, and it turns out it's taken some twists and turns as it's unfolded, but it's looking pretty good.
Wow.
I know you shared some of those floor plans with us, and they're beautiful. They're just so, and they work, and it's the now. It's what workstations need now in this time, and so you've really catered to the social distancing and being safe in the work environment. So one day we'd like to really push that out there for you, because it is something that is now needed.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. There are inflection points in the history of this, right? Way back when, in the 50s, everybody came out of the military, and the way an office looked was these rows of desks sort of lined up like troops, right? And everybody had their military-like desk. It looked like the U.S. Army. And then in the late 60s, the office furniture panel was invented by a fellow named Bob Probst at Herman Miller. And my friend worked for Bob Probst. Now, the theory in the late 60s, the Vietnam War was going on, and there was a lot of conflict and protests and everything. I'm sort of reminded of today. But the do your own thing was a mantra, and people, and so the office panel, it enabled people to have their own private office. Everybody had their own private office. Yeah. Well, that was hugely successful for the next generation. But somewhere in the late 80s, maybe early 90s, we found out that computers started to do all the routine stuff, and what people needed to do was collaborate. And so we shifted to a more open office with co-working spaces like yours. People could work in smaller spaces. They probably were elbow to elbow, and you could get a lot of people in a small space, and that worked. And people could talk with each other, and and elements of the home came in. People would like to sit on sofas and lounges and things like that. And again, for another generation, that was good. Now
Yeah.
here we are at another inflection point, right? Who
Mhm.
wants to go back to work sitting next to people elbow to elbow? Uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
even if we had a vaccine, I'm not sure people want to be anywhere near next to someone sniveling next to them. And that is going to be, I think, a lasting effect of this is people are going to have a greater awareness of their personal safety and health in the office. And so we're at another inflection point in the business. Right now, in the US, or North America, there's over 4 billion square feet of office space.
Wow.
And I would theorize that more than 90% of it is not ready.
Yeah.
The space plans aren't ready. And the only thing you can do right now, people are putting up chunks of plexiglass or spreading people out. That's the immediate solution. That's what has to happen. But we have to go on from this. And there's another place to go. And so that's what the product line I'm working on is part of that next generation. What are offices going to look like, and how do we create safe spaces for people to work in,
Yeah.
and still not lose the collaboration that we wanted, still not lose the space efficiency. Those remain big issues because commercial real estate's expensive. Face it. It's
Yeah.
um, in the Bay Area, particularly, and in the Bay Area alone, there's about 100 million square feet of commercial office space, and downtown San Francisco right now, a good portion of it's not even accessible because only 2 people can ride in an elevator. The Salesforce Tower, you couldn't populate it if you wanted to.
Yeah. Wow. So you are creating or have created and working on a solution to fill that space up again with people
Yes,
to come in and be able to work and have a solution where they feel comfortable, they feel safe, but they can still collaborate.
yes, yes.
Wow. That's some really good stuff. Do you have a website for that yet?
Oh, no. We're not sharing the secret sauce quite yet.
Well, good, good. That's a great idea. So that's some things that you can do during the pivot. Look at some of the issues that we're having and try to create solutions for the problems. Great idea, Bob.
Well,
So,
if you take this back to a CEO, right? What were you worrying about last night at 2 o'clock? Oh man, people are. I have all these remote workers. There have been reports now that work at home for some companies, employees are 25% less productive. How do you train people? Let older people train younger people in a position. How do you implement company culture? And in fact, how do you even lead? How can you have a group meeting or a company meeting when everybody's working from home?
yeah,
And I think a lot of CEOs are worried about that at 2 o'clock at night.
yeah, yeah. Someone out there says, awesome idea. You're already getting some feedback.
Thank you.
All right. Hey, I want to shift gears just real quick. I know Experience, right?
Yes.
That is the name of your company. Where did that word come from? Is that in the dictionary?
It will be someday. No, I was fumbling around for a name for the business because I wanted to coach others, and so I said, well, how about a sort of you could look at it and say, well, expert, or you could say peer, meaning top to top, CEO to CEO, or you could say serious, because thinking about the important issues. And so there's various words inside that word, but otherwise, no, it's not in the dictionary yet.
Experience. That's really cool. So he says peer. Yeah, he sees peer in there.
Yeah.
Great. So yeah. So so Experience is your coaching CEO's company.
Right.
Okay, great. I want to talk too. I know you authored a book, Finding Revenue: How Founders and Owners and CEOs Lead Marketing and Sales. Can you talk? Yeah, there it is, right there. Talk a little bit about your book and the purpose behind it.
Well, in my own career, and when I started working with others, I started to see patterns in some things, and one that seemed to happen a lot is that a CEO or a founder or any business leader, they probably have a career path they came from, and they have in-depth knowledge in that path. But when they get to the top, their knowledge is often shallow. Maybe they had a background in operations or programming or engineering or something, but you get to the top, and now all of a sudden you have sales, marketing, accounting, maybe physical distribution, human resources, and all these areas, right, that you don't really know very much about. And one that is particularly problematic, I remember sitting with a fellow one day. I asked him, so what do you do? I was interviewing him first time, right? What do you do for sales and marketing around here? And his answer was, well, I've hired people before, and 3 or 4 times, and it never seems to work out. And so we just all do it, a little bit of it now. And I thought, I just got a really bad answer to that question. and because he was seeing the problem, the solution to his problem as a person. And he didn't really want to understand the problem or know the problem or know anything about marketing. So he just wanted to hire someone else and throw the ball over the fence, let them handle it. And I don't think that's going to work. and sales and marketing is so important these days, and because it's the key to growing your business. It's important to see it as a process, not as a person. So the very first chapter in the book is titled "A Person or a Process," and if you think of it as a process and you start to map out, okay, what is the perfect customer? How do I reach those customers? How many am I getting? And you start on the marketing side of this, right? And once you understand your process for getting customers and closing a sale, then you can hire the person after the fact, and the person that fits the process. Wow. Now, you don't have to. I'm not trying to take CEOs and make them into vice presidents of marketing or vice presidents of sales, but just teach them enough that they know how to give that direction. And that's what the book is about.
Great. We got a quick question before we wrap up here. What title would you want to label yourself as an owner of a corporation, CEO or president?
I would go with CEO if you have that choice, because you are, at the end of the day, you end up as the top salesperson in the company, and you want customers, outside suppliers, the community, everyone to know that you are the top person in the business. You don't want to leave any doubt that maybe they can appeal to somebody else. You want everyone to know that you are the decision maker.
You're the top dog.
You are the wolf. You are the top dog.
All right, man, that's good, man. I know we are running short on time, Bob. I love to have you back on
Be glad.
our show. I know we had that technical error, but what would you like to leave with the listeners before you go?
Um, these are tough times, and for some businesses are really thriving in this, and, but for others, it's very tough. Um, Whatever you thought were boundaries to things you could do before, forget it. If you can't pay the rent, tell the landlord. Go see the landlord. Hey, I can't pay the rent. Ask for some forgiveness. If think outside of the box, because your other choice is to go out of business. That is, who cares if you? So you can't get what you don't ask for. And I'm saying, and if you're in troubled times here, ask for anything.
Yeah, ask for anything. You heard it right here, Bob Kroon. I appreciate you, Bob. Thank you for coming on our show. Words of wisdom. Ask for anything. Right.
Thank you.
We should have him back. We should have him back. And like in our pivot, we're going to start some more series. And of course, we're going to have Bob come back because he is an expert in his field. He is a great coach. We got to have personal coaching from him from our e-lab that we took back in Stockton a few months ago before COVID. And so he's a wealth of information. So I would definitely, can you pop back his
website is in the chat.
It's in the chat. There it is again. Look him up, or at least look up his book, Finding Revenue.
It's on Amazon. So
he has that in my library. He donated a book to our Workvine 209 library. So, and it's checked out. So I do need another copy.
Amazon.
Perfect. Right. Well, thank you, Bob, for being a part of our show. We really appreciate you. We'll be back here on Tuesday and Thursdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:00, not 2:10 like today. Hopefully everything runs smooth. But
take care.
Everybody have a great day, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.